Hi guys, welcome back. Let's get into column 3 of my Wall of Books for October 2023. Um, since there's quite a few of them and not as many in block series in this stack, I won't do too much of an intro. We'll just dive in with the first books and see what we've got. So first up, we have Janet Hubbard's Bordeaux, the Bitter Finish. Yes, Bitter Finish. This is a murder mystery I got off the free shelf at the library. Not an author I've read before. I like getting random murder mysteries from the library's free bookshelves so I can try out new authors. This is also one I found on a free bookshelf, Swimming in the Congo. Not sure what it's about, but it appealed to me at the time, and it looks interesting, so we'll find out. Tad Williams' Shadow Play is one from one of my siblings. Bit of fantasy that's highly recommended by that sibling. Haven't actually read Tad Williams yet. I'm told that they are a classic, so. Sophie Kinsella's Remember Me. I did read the first Shopaholic book. I don't know if I read a second one by her. I might have. Got Frederick Forsyth's The Afghan. I've read 2 Forsyth books so far. Both of them quite a bit bigger than this. So it'll be interesting to see how his books are when they're not so long. They tend to be espionage and high adventure involving things that blow up and guns and stuff. So that should be fun. La Rose by Louise Eldrick. Very different from Forsyth. I've never read an Eldrick book, so this will be my first one. Highly recommended by somebody, I think a librarian. It's been a while since I got that one. It's from the free shelf at the library, as is this one. I'm trying to read off some of my library free shelf stacks. They tend to be hardbacks. Laurie Halse Anderson, I've read several of hers. They're pretty good. They're young adults, so they tend to go really fast. And they deal with some more mature topics, but without too much to make it no longer young adult. So, good light reading, good for reading slumps. And then I have another Kathy Reichs book. I had one of these in one of the earlier stacks. So, another murder mystery from the Bones Inspiration series. If you've watched Bones, I do like the first 2 seasons, and then they start trying to fix Bones and make her something that she is not. Like, she's supposed to be one of the best forensic scientists ever, and the things that make her that amazing scientist also make her maybe not so good at being an average, ordinary wife and girlfriend and mother. And so, of course, all the characters are trying to fix her and make her more normal. I took offense to that, and I really don't like the rest of the series. The books are so much better. She gets to be herself without it being, let's fix Bones parties. Yeah. So I will rant about that more, I am sure. In the meantime, I have another Julian May book, Sky Trillium. So I will have to look and see which books I'm missing, because I suspect this is a series, because Blood Trillium is on one of my earlier stacks. There may be additional Julian May books that show up as I figure out what I'm missing. Hole in the Sky by William Kettridge, another book set in the West. I might have read this, or at least part of it. I vaguely remember it being something that I've started before, but I don't remember it. So we'll find out if it's a reread or not. We have Warriors, Firestar's Quest by Erin Hunter. Oh my gosh, Erin Hunter. Her books are adorable. Cats or wolves or some other creatures. These ones are cats that live out in the woods, and they have adventures and go into battle with other cats over territory, and they always look askance at house cats, which they call kitty pets as a derogatory term. They're really great books. They're youth chapter books. They're juvenile chapter books. So they don't take very long to read, although this one is pretty fat. And for a kid's chapter book, it's a couple hundred pages long. Yeah, a couple hundred. The epilogue starts on page 508. So this is a long one. Not something you're going to finish in a couple nights of reading to your kids, but definitely worth reading. I have a box set of some of the other books about cats from her that I've read the first one. I'll be reading more of those soon too. I have a book of poetry. I don't like poetry, but I have this ingrained idea, probably from school and from, people who are supposed to know everything about books from my childhood, that when I get old enough and wise enough, I might actually like poetry. So every once in a while I make myself read it, just in case. Last year I read Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. I hated it. I really hated it. Partly he seems really misogynist and just annoying. Anyway, and something about a book of poetry that's 400 pages long just already was a bad thing. So E. Cummings is at least a short book. I can probably survive that one without it being painful. Then I have The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhata Roy. I've read other books by this author, which have been beautifully written. I'm looking forward to this one. We have Behold the Dreamers by Mbolo Mbwe. This one is set in Cameroon. So country in Africa I don't read much about. That'll be nice. Usually when I read books set in Africa, they're in Mali or Nigeria or sometimes Kenya or South Africa. So it's nice to get some other countries in my reading stacks. I've got Isaac Asimov's science fiction from July 1988. I was going to read a bunch of these in September for Shorty September. That never happened. Got The Mouse That Roared. It's a play. I also have Brand by Henrik Ibsen, also a play. I'm going to try and read these out loud to my cats because I think it's easier to get into plays if you can hear them and kind of figure out how the characters would sound, maybe cast them in your head, who's playing what. I do that. A lot of my favorite actors play all sorts of roles that they have no idea they played because they're in my head when I'm reading plays. I have a bound essay by John Calvin on God and political duty. Not really something I look forward to, but I do read philosophy and I do read theosophy every so often, partly just to keep my vocabulary up. And as an atheist, I do find myself in a lot of conversations that turn into theosophical debates. So it's nice to have a lot of those arguments already in your head before going into those, because it's really hard to think on the fly when you've all of a sudden found yourself in a philosophical discussion in what was supposed to have been shelving things at a food pantry or things like that. And it's always places like that, settings where you're really not trying to do high-powered thinking, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be doing philosophy. Yeah. And I, of course, intend to win when I get into those. It's a bad habit. Not as bad as it used to be. I think I'm getting more mature in that respect. I don't have to convince everyone. I just have to get them to stop bugging me about being an atheist. Sometimes that's easier said than done. In the meantime, next book, A Nun in the Closet by Dorothy Gilman, who wrote the Mrs. Polyfax series. If you haven't read that yet, you really need to. It is amazing. Mrs. Polyfax is a little old lady that becomes a CIA secret agent. Definitely worth a read. It's a 13 or 14 book series, and they're all really short. And I have this one that I've already started, The Years of Rice and Salt, which I started as an audiobook. We'll see if it actually ends up being an audiobook still by the time I finish it, or I might just read the print book. Tea with the Black Dragon is a murder mystery borrowed from a friend. Georgette Heyer's They Found Him Dead. Georgette Heyer is a romance author and murder mystery author. That's one of her murder mysteries. We got 2 W. Somerset Maugham books, both of them in very poor shape, but they have all their pages. That's all that matters. So, of Human Bondage, which is on the 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die list. The Complete Short Stories of W. Somerset Maugham, Volume 3, The Book Bag, and Other Stories. I only have Volume 3. Then we have... yeah, I think that's about it. Alright, I think we've reached the end. Wow, I was ready to go with more books, but that is the TBR for this coming month. Starting midnight tonight, I get to read all these books. Realistically, I'm already reading some of them, so I might finish one of these books, probably Icing the Body Electric, between now and midnight. So it might technically count as a September book. Otherwise, these are my October books. Hopefully I finish quite a few of them. I am hoping to move probably in November. So if you noticed a lot of fat books and hardback books, that's because I want to decrease the number of boxes of books that I am moving from where I am now to where I'm going to be. I'm not moving very far, but I'm moving far enough that if I read the bigger books that take up more space, I might have fewer boxes I have to pack up and move and unbox when I get there, and then I don't have as many books to figure out where to put them in the new place. So a lot of the books I'm going to be reading are going to be print books and are going to be hardbacks. And I am trying to finish some of those tomes that are big but probably won't take forever to finish. Already with just these books, that's at least a box and a half of books that I don't have to move if I finish them. So let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books. If you've got a TBR set and what you're going to be reading. And whatever else you think about the books I'm reading. And I will talk to you again soon. I will probably bring my crochet into the next video. I don't think I'm quite ready to figure out live streaming yet. I thought about it. To do some live stitching sessions while chatting books. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for that yet. Yeah, just the whole getting it set up thing is a bit intimidating right now. So that might not be for a couple weeks, but I am thinking about it. So if that's something that you think would be fun to do, let me know in the comments. I'm thinking it'll be something that if you watch it later, you can just follow along and stitch while you watch. And modern technology, you don't have to do it at the exact same time I do it to stitch along with the video. I do that with other people's stitching along videos. So that way I can just chat books and stitch, and you can chat books and stitch, and it should be fun. In the meantime, have fun with your reading, and I will talk to you again soon, hopefully with some finished books. Bye guys!